Nature gives us everything we need. And if we spend enough time in nature, we'll find that. There's nothing that you can think of that you actually need, not once, not desire, need. Nature gives us everything we need. So, those of us that have been gardening for any number of years, we remember that in the beginning, and some of us still do it, but especially in the beginning, we were trained to grow plants from seed. Go get those seeds from your big box store or your nursery or wherever and plant them and grow them every year. We have been moving more and more towards what they call a permaculture garden, but what we like to call an indigenous garden. One of the reasons that our indigenous ancestors got so upset with the invading Europeans is because the Europeans came and said, "What is that? Cut it down." They didn't, matter of fact, they didn't even say, "What is that?" They just cut it down. Hey, we want to put a road right there. We want to build a building right there, a school or whatever. So just cut that whole area down, and then we can build what we need. Our indigenous ancestors understood that nature gives us what we need. So what nature gives us is far more important than what we can build for ourselves. If we're going to build something, our indigenous ancestors taught us that we build it, and as much as possible build it in harmony with nature so that we're not disrupting nature too much. So even if you look at archaeology, you'll see where there were these big massive cities. But while there were big massive cities where humans pretty much destroyed nature, there were also massive rainforests all over the globe, because they understood that the rainforests and the forests of the world are our medicine cabinet. They're our pantry. And if we want to eat, then we need to leave as much of these natural areas alone so that they can give us what we need. And in turn, they will give everything else in nature what it needs. So this plant right here is lamb's quarters, what people call lamb's quarters, and others call wild spinach. So imagine getting the wild spinach seeds. I'm sorry, the domesticated spinach, the what y'all would call regular spinach, the kind that you could get in a bag of salad called baby spinach at the grocery store, or your topping that you may go to one of your sandwich shops and say, hey, add spinach to that, or a pizza or whatever. That type of spinach, we go get the seeds, little small packet of seeds, and you pay almost $2 for that, a little more if it's organic. And then we painstakingly wait for the proper season, make sure our soil is prepared just right. Um, then we try to make sure that it's not attacked by pests. Make sure the sun, it's getting enough sun exposure, but not too much because we don't want to burn it up in the heat of the sun. We go through all of that trouble and we still get a relatively small plant. But this wild spinach here, you're only looking at probably a tenth of the plant. So I'm 6 feet tall and this plant is coming up to my chest. So it's about 4.5 feet tall. And the circumference is about 3 feet. So you can see my hand here. And then let me try to come out a little bit so you can see the entire plant. Look at that. This plant is huge. And I have it right here. I admit that I did transplant it here because I like the fact that this particular area gets morning sun. And as you can tell from the plant, it likes morning sun. But this plant is huge. And every morning I come out and take a couple of leaves while I'm harvesting. While I'm doing my garden work. And I just harvest a couple of leaves. And I eat them and enjoy them. Raw. They actually taste good. It's not bitter. And how do I grow it? I allow it to go to seed, which this plant is not really going to seed yet. I think it's about to. And then I let it drop its seed, so I'll have a lot of little baby plants around it. Or I'll take the seed and scatter it somewhere that I want to see the plant grow. So I have, let's see, about 5 of these in the front yard. And I can't even count how many I have in the backyard. But they're not taking up too much space. As you can see here, I'm still able to grow my collards. I got some mugwort, I got some chives, I got thyme. I'm still able to grow everything that I want to grow. You can see that the sun actually penetrates the leaves. So while it is shading somewhat this area right here, this area is still getting sun right beside it. Anyway, remember, nature gives us everything we need. And this is one of my favorite plants. I'm going to talk to y'all soon. Peace and guidance.